Okay, I'm gonna then we will start today with a introduction, going through some slides, then we will go deeper, diving into specific content that you will be working with. And we have about 3 hours together. This is a rough agenda. We will give you a program overview of the AATCE program, since if you were working with it, there has been some changes in the last year also. We want to make sure you have the right context as to how this new experience fits in to the revamped AATCE program. Then we're going to go into each piece of the ACT delivery and the content that is being used to support it. All this time within the 3 hours may flex, and all this discussions is meant to be interactive, right? This is really meant to help you to be ready to deliver this new experience. So stop us, chime in, Ali, feel free to prompt us if we forget anything as well, right? In the midst of this everything, just to make sure before we wrap today, you feel ready and supported to deliver the experience. And within all this, we're gonna take a break. It is a long session, so we'll make sure that everybody gets a chance to get, a quick break to do whatever you need to do. All good?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We pop this up again. Again, if you don't have it yet, this is the toolkit where all the resources are. We may continue to add new resources. Giovanna, this is the same as the toolkit link that we have in chat, so you should be able to get to the same place. Okay, and all these resources are in English. I understand some of the markets may go into localization, but for now, what we're starting with is the English only version, right? So let me give you a quick overview of the Apple Authorized Training Centers for Education program. As some of you know, that Apple created this Apple Authorized Training Centers for Education program to provide rich opportunities for institutions to connect with peers globally, offering instructor training and elevates students' career opportunities with in-demand skills. It also allows institutions to stand out with resources for story sharing from Apple. And for any institutions to become an AATCE and receive authorization, all the institutions are required to set up an innovation lab with Mac and testing devices, commit to teach Apple's Develop in Swift every academic term, have instructors certified by Apple, and sign the program agreement. It is recommended that AATCE's Innovation Lab is equipped with a Mac for every student in the program. The AATCE is also recommended to provide one additional Apple device for every 3 students to enable students to test their apps. Right. So when you see this requirement list, you can see that the Apple certified trainers is a core element of an institution's qualification in becoming an AATCE. And for an institution to become a member of the program, they go through a full authorization process. And this is a refined process different from what we had previously. So the first step in the authorization process is an Apple team member nominating that institution after determining that they are a good fit. Then the institution will receive an invitation to submit their application. If and once their application is approved, then the institution's instructors nominated will prepare and attend workshops, the ACT certification training, to become Apple certified trainers. And that's the piece we're gonna talk about today. And after the instructors are certified, and then they have their innovation lab set up, they will then sign the AATCE agreement and get onboarded to the program. So all these steps will allow then the institutions to then become an Apple authorized training center for education. Then this is what we currently publish as to the instructor certification process. It is very broad, it's customer facing. We wanted you to see it so you have some context, and then we will go into the details of the exact elements in there. So the AATCE program should be delivered by the institution's faculty with practical experience in coding and app development, and those who have a background in teaching or learning with proficiency on teaching Swift. For the faculty or certification to become certified, the instructors are required to explore the Develop in Swift Educator Guide along with the tutorials. They will participate in virtual preparation sessions, which help the faculty identify helpful resources to teach Develop in Swift and also understand the requirements for becoming the Apple certified trainers. Oops, I missed one. Let me go back to it. Oh, I guess that was it. Sorry. Let me do, yep, sorry. What I meant to cover is then there's the train the trainer. So the faculty selected must also successfully complete the Apple Teacher, where the program is available, and train the trainer workshops. Instructors who have demonstrated sufficient mastery of the material then become certified as a trainer to teach app development with Swift at an AATCE. Pausing quickly to see if anybody has any questions. All good? All right. So then some context into the design of this new experience. So when we took over the program to look at program expansion about a year ago, we also set out to redesign this Apple certified trainers experience. And what we really want to focus on when we look at how to support the faculty at an AATCE is the skill set we'd like to enhance for these trainers that can really bring students the innovative experience that Apple will expect. So instructors coming through for certification are already experienced in teaching because they are mostly faculty or professor at a higher ed institution. And in most cases, they have practical knowledge in Swift and Xcode. Where we would really like to focus on is for them to become more collaborative and innovative in delivering that exceptional learning experience to their students in the context of teaching app dev with Swift. So with that in mind, here's the new certification experience. This experience includes a combination of active session time and independent development time for the participants. It provides an engaging learning experience in both one-to-one and in group settings. So if you look at the journey, it begins with a 60-minute group introduction session, followed by a one-on-one app demo, then a 2.5 hour small group lab sessions. So total active session time, excuse me, is about 9 hours for each participant. The independent development time involves acquiring necessary competencies. For example, if the faculty does not already know Swift, they will spend time offline learning Swift. They will also work on becoming an Apple teacher on iPad and on Mac, which is a self-learning journey with Apple resources on apple.com. They will work on creating an app for the app demo session and then completing 2 journals, both offline and also during the group lab sessions. So those are the pieces that they will complete independently aside from attending the sessions. The pace of how long or how quickly each participant can go through this journey will very much vary based on the participant's technical proficiency in Swift and their ability to work through Apple Teacher and app creation steps. And we will talk about pacing in a few minutes. And we know that when you plan out the scheduling with your geo lead at Apple in your geo, we will be able to get to that more details as well. So also another point on this new experience is that all sessions are designed to be virtual, but they can also be adapted for in-person formats. If in the case for your geo, you are also looking into delivering some of these elements or the whole experience in an in-person format. Okay, and I'm gonna pause here to see if anyone has questions, because this is a lot and this is really the core piece of this whole experience, and we will be able to dive into each segment today. And I am, in the meantime, also gonna check, Amit, your access to the toolkit. Questions?
Thank you,
Carol. Maybe, yeah. So trying to relate this to what we used to do, it's totally different, I think. Maybe except for the intro session. Now, so the independent development, as you said, that the participant should already have some knowledge of the Swift language, or you're assuming people with computer programming background. Now, in the past, we have people that really teachers or professionals that have no programming background, and they come to this program, and then they were, they gained some skills during the teach packs, but also they attended some training beforehand. So do you think this independent learning is going to scare some people away, or you're targeting certain group of people, like educators with computer science background, for example?
Yeah, good point. And we know that in past, even working with Mike here, we understand that not all participants always have that technical proficiency before they get through this training. So I would say that we are going to, with this new program design, we are trying harder to set that expectation ahead of time when we nominate an institution, right? So the Apple team will kind of set that expectation and help the institutions understand better the type of faculty that they should select and what this experience will look like. Another thing is that during the introduction session, we'll make it also very clear that they need to work on all these pieces that includes learning Swift and working on the skills journal, developing the app independently. And we will provide some resources and guidance, and you all as mentors, we hope that you will also support them in identifying resources that they can tap into to to learn Swift, for example, if they don't already know it. So we will set the expectation early and be supportive and make sure that they understand where they need to go to acquire those competencies. The skills journal and the group journal are designed to be very informative. It is not like questions that they have to answer. Those are all the things we will go through during the session for them to be confident in jotting down their reflections or the work, documenting the work they are working through. So,
Good.
Path, anything you'd like to add there?
No, I thought you covered that pretty well. I think there is significant difference with the previous way of doing it. Yeah, so I would approach today's session with an open mind, with the intention of learning how to become a good and effective mentor moving forward. Because if we keep referencing what we used to do in the past, it will be a bit challenging because there is a lot of difference.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to comprehend the new process. I mean, I'm have pretty open mind on these things, so I'm okay. Just in terms of the process, so we're talking about this is going to be the certification at an individual level or at a group level, because it looks like this is more of one-on-one track than a group track. Am I correct, or this is wrong?
There are group elements, but the evaluation is on each person's level. So each participant will go through this journey and then receive a final evaluation for their personal kind of participation.
But the support from the mentors will be at an individual level in many of the, like, for example, the one-on-one app demo, that would be individual, right? I mean,
yes.
In the past, the schedule used to be like 1 week, all done in 1 week. This can be throughout a period of time. Am I correct, or?
Correct.
Okay.
We'll be going through the each of the items. So I mean, some of the questions you will be clearer once we run through. You know,
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. I'll wait.
Yep.
Then. I'll wait. Yeah.
Yep. And we'll be sure to, answer questions that you still don't feel clear toward the end after we go through everything as well.
Okay.
And
so
I mean,
just a quick point.
yeah.
So I kind of agree with Ali because I work with teachers in India, and we face the same issues that not all the faculty members are well equipped with Swift. So with the part where we are having a self-learning, do we have some structure?
We're just going to address that right here on this slide.
Got it.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just wait.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's see if this answers. So I think this is, a major gap for those who have been delivering the experience in the past format, come across, right? So as you have already identified, the certification journey itself doesn't focus on teaching instructors about Swift. Again, the expectation is that they already come with the technical proficiency. In the instance where they don't possess the technical proficiency, they can then use suggested resources to learn it on their own before the app demo step, or pursue bootcamp offerings that some of you may be offering, or they may look for other vendors who are providing Swift training at a cost. So those are options that during the training you can surface up to help support their self-learning needs. So this is one approach that you will see when we get to the introduction session. Again, all the purpose is to make sure that they understand that they need to have this proficiency it is up to them to learn that, and we will give them resources or point them to resources, I should say, to acquire that proficiency. Ivan, question?
Yeah. Is there any like deadlines for the training? Because I can imagine, like, say for example, there is one of the participant, probably he's not really, he has been playing through all the Learn to Code 1, Learn to Code 2, Learn to Code whatever, okay? But then when he tried to make up his own app, they will face so many problems, okay? And on the one-on-one code, app demo, etc., probably it's gonna be like they have a lot of difficulties. And from the mentor perspective, giving resources, okay, probably okay, look at this, look at that, read this article, whatever, okay. But then at the end of the day, the group lab sessions, there will be a deadline, right? So what if like one or more participant cannot complete their one-on-one app demo, etc., then what's gonna be?
Yeah, Ivan, I think I'll try to explain this more clearly, right? And tell me if it helps. At every step, you need to clear in order to proceed to the next step. There is no way you're gonna just move on and then reach a point where you complete and then get a certification and actually you're not ready, right? Gary, if you can go to slide 8 again, and we were actually serious about this. Like when we talk about experience in teaching, we're not talking about, you know, I mean, like we actually mean it. We're talking about knowledge of Swift and Xcode. We will test it and verify it, right? So these are things that are kind of important. And so the intro session is to set the standard and to set expectations so that everybody knows. But at the intro session, between the intro session and the app demo, there is no deadline. So after the intro session, if Ivan comes and Ivan says, hey, you know what? I know a little bit. I'm not sure whether or not it's enough. Ivan should ask, right? I've done these things. I've done Learn to Code 1, 2, and 3. What do you think I'm ready? You know, the mentor who's running the session will probably say, Ivan, Learn to Code 1, 2, and 3 were great. Bytes keeps moving left and right, not going to be enough to help you. You probably need, and this is where the resources that Carol listed earlier, either you're super hardworking, you will do it on your own, or not so hardworking like me, need a person to guide me. Maybe you sign up for a boot camp. Then you have an instructor who will help you. But boot camp costs money, right? And if you need to go for the boot camp, then ask your institution, hello, will you pay? So that I can become ready with this certification that you are asking me to get, right? So all this information is given in the intro session so that the candidate knows what is the expectation, but there is no deadline, right? You know what I mean? When they are ready, then they go to the next step. Even at the next step, if they make some mistake, the mentor will tell them, your mistake is here, your other mistake is here, and this is the thing that you need to do better. Today, you're not ready. Come back again. Not going to tell you when to come back. You don't have to come back next week. You can come back next month. You can come back in 3 months. When you are ready with the correction or to all these things, don't just submit a correction. You have to do a new thing. Later we'll explain. Then we will reevaluate you. So it's either a pass or not ready. If not ready, go through the process again. Very developmental. We're not going to say fail. Ivan, I never want to see you again. Go. That doesn't make sense, right? But we are serious because we want to make sure that once they are ready, then they go to the next step.
All right.
Right. So that, of course, you know, I mean, it is the requirement. But you are absolutely correct that some people, before at the intro session, they may be like, I think I'm ready. Other people, you know, and you know, some people are hardworking. They put in a lot of effort. Other people will be like, nah, I done Python, I've done Objective-C, I think I can do it. Then suddenly they attend and the mentor gives them the honest reality, which is Xcode is different. You need to go and spend time to do learning, and they have to do it. I know it's a
Yeah.
long answer, but I get your
No, no,
question,
that
and
actually
I have
is
encountered a similar situation also in Southeast
yeah.
Asia. You know what I mean? But many
Yes.
times
I'm
after
in
we
Hong
give
Kong
the
and Taiwan.
feedback,
What do you
they
think?
come back and they do it well.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. And I put this up. I don't know if this helps.
Yes,
Again,
the schedule.
all the mentors, you have the geo lead like Mike or Leslie and Path and Vixent, you know, in each geo that you will work with after this session to then determine the schedule. And for if AATC is a new program to stand up in your geo, then this is part of the planning process. You will work with us to develop as well. So this is a sample schedule. To Path's point, you know, there will be times where the participant may basically pause, right? We will determine the schedule. For example, there's an intro section that's offered at the beginning of each month. Then the third week of each month, we will offer the one-to-one or one-on-one app demo. If the participant is not ready to attend the app demo because they are stuck at the app development, then they will need to wait till the next offering, which is the following month, the third week of the following month, to do that. The participant will drive their journey. We, of course, want to support them to go through this journey as quickly, as successfully as possible, so that their achievement can then support their institution in becoming the AATCE. But there's also possibility that they would just, you know, be going through another round of the session in order to satisfy the evaluation requirements before they move on to the next step. So if everything runs smoothly and the participants successfully complete each step, they could finish the whole journey in 4 to 5 weeks' time to receive the final passing of the certification. At times, if they need to retake or take more time to complete the independent development, it may take them 2 months. Or worst case, maybe it takes them even beyond 2 months, right? But as the mentors, we hope that you will, you know, support the participants in having the right expectations and knowing what resources that they can get and get the support for them to move through this journey. So again, this schedule may look very differently for your geo, but you will plan this out with your geo lead when the time comes after today's session. Okay. So with that, Path, I'm gonna pass it over to you to kind of dive into each element of the experience, starting from the introduction session. Does that work? You're on mute.
Sorry. The intro session, which we have been talking about, is honestly a while probably not very heavy in terms of content. Is going to be very important because people may have had others tell them what it's like. They may have had some expectations. So this is where you set the standard. You know what I mean? You explain to them exactly what Carol did. You know what I mean? That's the same slide, which is the visual on what is the process, where they are starting now. You know, if they are familiar, if they are confident, then they can move on. If not so much, spend time, individual study or attend a boot camp, then go sign up for the one-on-one app demo Once they clear that, then they are ready for the group lab sessions, right? Basically, these are the steps. So we'll go through the process. Then we will explain the expectations, like what are they expected to do and all of those things. And at this stage, they will have access to the first journal, and I will go through it and like show you what it looks like and everything else. If you have got access to the box folder, you will already have it and you can open it. Third thing is we will want to make sure that they are familiar with resources. And as you know, more and more free resources are being available. There's all of the resources that you have on developer.apple.com. There's also other resources that are available. We want people to know that they can access those. They should access those, make themselves familiar with them. And if they haven't already done it, of course, and get involved in independent study. So that is going to be the intro session. Now, I'm probably going to just go through the intro session slides. Carol, what do you think? I might do that. Just
Yep,
so that
sounds good.
everybody. It's me.
I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Okay. So again, if you have got the books folder, there will be a file, a Keynote file called ACT Intro Session Presentation, right? Now, when I go through it, you will realize that this is mentor name, your name. Because the session is going to be virtual, there's some of these things which are helpful for you. I'm going to be fairly quick at the beginning because all of these slides, we have actually used them to brief you, right? So as you look at them, you're like, hey, they're familiar, because it's the same way we want to brief the candidates on the process, right? Because it's going to be new to them, right? We want to tell them exactly the same way. Today you are here, this is intro. Then what should you be doing, right? Like what Ivan said, if not so familiar, if spending a lot of time on Swift Playgrounds, okay, warning, maybe you need to go upskill in some other areas before you join the one-on-one app demo. Once that is done, then what is next? So they have an idea of roughly what is the commitment required, time required, effort required, because they are obviously, this is not the only thing they are doing, right? They have many, many other responsibilities. Then we need to explain to them that today we are going to be doing a couple of things: process, expectation, and resources. And that the group lab, when they are finally ready, will be 3 modules. Each module will be 2.5 hours. Total time required will be 7.5 hours. So I'm sure they'll be calculating how much of time, how many hours, how many days, which is normal, right? Which is normal they will do. So you can expect that people will be asking you many questions. And people may be asking you the same questions multiple times, right? Which again is going to be quite common. Then, as we pause, you can ask what questions you have about the certification. What if I have this? What if I don't have this? What if I need this? Where do I go for help? All things that are important, you can collate. Sometimes I feel this is worthwhile having an assistant, right? Somebody who looks at the chat, right? Because it may be a little bit challenging for one person to handle, depending on the number of people you have. For the intro session, we're not going to be strict about numbers, while for the group lab session, it will be more important to keep to a ratio. Right? The intro session, you could probably have more than 20, 30 people, because it is really a one-to-many. You are giving information, they are listening and asking questions. So when we talk about expectation, you've seen this slide, we shared it earlier. We want to explain about the requirements. We also want to just go through a little bit and say, experience in teaching. This means able to instruct, has a teacher voice, knows what it is like, has an understanding of what is pedagogy, not just take content, stand and deliver. Then what is the meaning of knowledge in Swift and Xcode? I repeat this because many have asked, what about if I was someone who's experienced and knows a lot about Swift Playgrounds, or is great on the iPad? That is insufficient. And of course, third, must be someone who's willing to collaborate and always looking at innovating on their own, not waiting. Apple has not come up with a new way of doing it. I'm not going to change. I am just going to wait. They themselves must be looking. My student needs something different. I need to find a way to bridge from what my student need to what I should be able to deliver and how I can try it. So these are little things. Then Carol mentioned Apple Teacher, visual, so that they understand what the Learning Center looks like. And here we're talking about iPad and Mac. Of course, at this stage, we will say, you will get access to a skills journal. In a short while, I'll show you what exactly that is and how it looks like. And we will want to go through with them, really important, the next step. Because it's not good enough to tell them, you need to know Swift and Xcode. Because I'm sure many will say, I already know. Until you explain to them, this is going to be the requirement for app demo. Or then they will say, actually, that requirement is a little bit high. Now I better go and study. So important to give them the requirements so that they understand that it's not going to be so simple, right? So I'm going to pause now, and I'm happy to entertain questions, and I'm going to switch and show you first the app demo. What are the questions? What is the rubric? And then I'll show you the journal. And after I show you these two things, then we'll have a short break. But for now, while I'm switching from my keynote to Pages document, if anybody has questions, please fire away.
I just want to check something. Can you go back to the timeline, please? If you keep your screen shared, I just want to look at the timeline, that the track, and I just want to make sure that I understand it well.
Okay.
You do know that you have access to this document on your
I
folder.
tried,
Yeah.
but I thought it would be relevant to this because the question I have is that about the okay, here you go, join one demo session and then attend group lab sessions. So and from what I saw about the group lab sessions is that they're expected to do certain tasks, and then they work on basically apps, and then they have to demo their ability to create them. So, but the one-on-one app demo session, are they expected to have an app ready, or what is
Just
this?
I'm
Is
just
like
going to show that now.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
As
all
I
right,
said,
okay,
I am
okay.
going to stop sharing
Okay.
the slide and
Okay.
go to
All right.
the one.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Can I? Do you still
Sure.
need this?
No,
Awesome.
that's it.
I also want to highlight that within that toolkit, you will also have a mentor guide. It's a pretty simple document that outlines each step with kind of action items and your follow-up when delivering the session. So hopefully that gives you a good assistance after this session to go through to refresh your memories on what each step contains. So Ali, definitely take a look at that as well as one of the supporting document. And that is designed specifically for you as mentors to help you deliver.
Okay.
So this is another document that you have access to, right? My strong suggestion would be, as I put the documents up, and I don't know about the size of your screen, but I always prefer to have the document up on my own screen so that I can look at it and I can, scroll through it. I can make it bigger, as big as I like and I need, right? So this is just a reference, but you have access to it. So please feel free to look at it in a way that makes sense to you. And this is called the AATCE_ACT app demo and rubric, and there's a date behind, right? So you're gonna see a few things, but the first thing that I want to draw your attention to in red is that you are going to have 6 different stories, and you pick one, right? And this is important because we wanted to give the mentor choice, right? And we didn't want people to go and say, hey, you know what? This is what you need to do, and even before you do it, you want to just go and use mine, Also, we wanted the mentor to have a little bit of excitement. so that, you know, you won't have to see the same app, you know, being created by, I don't know, 50, 100 people. I don't know about you, but after the 10th person, I will get a bit bored, right? And so for these reasons and more, we decided to give you choice. So if you look at your document, you'll realize that there's a title. For example, this says Pill Tracker, there's a story, and then there's an exercise. And this is exactly what the candidate is going to be required to do. They're going to be required to create an app, and they're going to be required to show the code and explain why and how they chose to design the app this way. Now, even before anybody brings it up, because people have brought it up, it will be difficult to completely leverage on AI to create this app and then pass that app off as something that is their own. Because the requirements are such that if they do not understand the code that they used, they will not be able to talk about it, right? So the requirement will not to be create a set of keynote slides and tell me about what you did. It will be show me the actual app, and I want to see you talk me through Xcode and explain to me why and how, right? Now, I have got
Just to add to your point, actually, I do that now with my classes with the AI era. We have something in their final project, they have to do code walkthrough. So exactly what you're saying is that they have to walk and explain, even if they, and then the rubrics is such that even if they use AI to develop it, they're gonna get 50% out of 100 of
Yep.
the grade. So
Yep.
this
So
is
you
a
know this,
really
yes.
good, yeah, this is a
Absolutely.
good way to do it. Yeah, yeah.
And I completely understand that it is going to be challenging, because when you see one-on-one, and I guarantee I understand it, and I appeal for your better judgment that this will mean you one person and one candidate for about 30 minutes. But after you've done it, you at least will be assured that this person knows their work, right? So that you don't have to go think about and be watching them through the group lab session with this like uncertainty. Did they do it right? I'm not sure. They said something, right? Because you know after 30 minutes whether they have it or they don't have it, right? And that I know will take time and effort, because if you have 20 candidates, 20 people times 30 minutes each, all of these will add up, right? And that I have to tell you will be worth it in the end, but will require some time and effort in getting through, right? So we understand that. Give me just one second. I'm not going to go through each of the stories, right? They're all there for you. I'm going to scroll towards the end, because this is kind of like the really important part, right? And we want to make this known. This is going to be something that all the candidates will know beforehand, right? We won't be telling them all the stories. We will be giving them an example, which is not one of the 6 that you get. They will just get an example, so they're like, right, this is what I must do. We're also going to give them and show them an example of an app. And we're going to set the bar high, because when we say 2 or 3 features, we don't want them to like do the most basic and minimum. We want them to really try really hard, right? And that is important. And so we want to explain to them what is content and knowledge, what is organization and preparation. Communication is their ability to communicate, right? And we all know that, and which is why you are all candidates, you are all mentors, because you all have, at least you are bilingual, and there may be some candidate who may need to speak to you in a language other than English, and I am sure many of you are prepared, right? Because that's the way we are. We want to come as close to the candidate as possible and help them, especially if English may not be not their best language, but if they know their work, but maybe explain it better in a different language, that's fine, right? And then when I say presentation, it's not keynote. Presentation is how they present the app, how they talk about it. Is it haphazard? How they present their code, right? And are they innovative? For each one of these 5 items, we have a detailed rubric. This rubric is not just for you, but it is meant for the candidate to be given to them at the intro session. So at the intro session, we're going to take time to walk them through an example. We're going to give them the rubric and let them go back and say, this is the level of preparation that we expect from you. When you are ready, please come. But when you come and we go through the 30 minutes, if there is some error, if there are some gaps, we will tell you the gaps so that you can go back and come back another day. That's all. It doesn't mean that something is wrong. It just means that you need to put in a little bit more time and effort to practice. Does that make sense? Are there any questions? No. Can I will be very honest. This is a work. This is like first iteration, right? So you as you try it and as you use it, please give us feedback. You know, I mean, like as you use it, you may say, hey, you know what, this user story, not that great. I have a better one, or something like that. Who knows, right? I mean, honestly speaking, you will all be spending most amount of time using this. So your feedback on it is going to be very important. So I think that we want to work both ways, right?
I think this is to be honest, is a better approach to validate the instructor's knowledge and know-how, because this is really digging deep into their ability to create app, which is going to translate later on to better teachers, better instructors, especially if they can communicate these ideas well. My first impression, I think it's going to be a better way of evaluating instructors. Yeah.
Thank you.
Love hearing that.
Yeah. Let me.
And
sorry, Carol, please go ahead.
Giovanna, sorry, just real quick, Giovanna, I know you're having issue seeing the screen share, so you may take a moment to log off the call and rejoin to see if that fixed the issue, or just pull up the document that's in the box folder as Path kind of pulls it up.
Okay, that's sad. Sorry about that. So I'm just gonna share the skills journal. So there are 2 journals in total that candidates through the process will have access to. The skills journal is what they get access to right at the beginning. Right at the beginning, intro session, they have access to this, right? Now, if you look at the skills journal, a lot of the content here is actually material that you would have presented. But we all know that people sometimes they will understand better when they have the content in front of them and when they take it back, right? So when we give them access to this document, they can take it back, they can look at it, they're like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. These are the requirements, right? And many people, maybe they listen to English, not so clear, but they read it, they become clearer, right? So we are repeating some of the material just for the sake of helping the candidate truly understand the requirements well, right? So you will see first 2 pages, some repetition. Then you will see here some question and answer, because we want it to be something that they own, right? So here we say, share an experience, that you use Apple for teaching and learning. In a very subtle way, we want them to think about, do you have teaching experience? Have you taught before? But we don't want to go and ask them, right? It becomes like a very crude interview, right? So we're like, hey, let's talk about your experience. Of course, they can talk about their experience as a learner. They can talk about experience as a teacher. It's up to them. Then here is place for them to put all of their badges, right? We're trying to keep it fun. Here it is possible. If you see my cursor, you can move the tick, to show that, you have achieved it. You can move the tick to the bottom. You see, there's all these little things. It's like, oh, a sense of achievement. I have gotten that Apple Teacher badge, right? Then a little bit about app development, gentle. Tell us about a recent learning experience around an app that you have designed in the past, right? And all we're saying is that integrated Apple technology. We didn't say Xcode. We didn't say Swift UI. We didn't say UI Kit. We just said, tell us. Tell us what you have done. Talk about it. Let them write, let them type, however they want to express themselves. Remember that eventually this journal will be submitted. It's not a self-reflection journal. It's something that they are going to complete and submit, right? Then we have a third question. Now it's starting to warm up a little bit. So more focused question. So a specific teaching experience, right? Asking about what was the most important thing that you needed to do to ensure success. Then these are all aligned to the group phase. We have inquire, design, and deliver. So you see each one a thoughtful question that we have created. And then a little reflection again on that experience that is talked about at the beginning here on the inquire slide, right? So 1, 2, and 3 pages about the same experience and then a reflection. Then this final segment of this journal is where we talk about the app demo. You will realize that we're not presenting to them the question here. We're just talking to them about the process, right? We're talking to them about it's going to be one-to-one, and we're giving them an opportunity, if they choose, to be able to put that app or at least to demonstrate it through the journal. Some people may appreciate it, some people may not. We're not going to force people to use the journal to showcase the app during the one-to-one app demo, but we do want them to document it here, because when they submit this, then the mentor has one place they can go to like, oh, this candidate, oh, this is everything about the candidate up to this point, right? This is what they will find in this journal. So that's where they can put, right, either a screenshot, writing, drawing, and then really important will be the rubric. So this is what we will give to them at the intro session, and we will tell them after the intro session, self-study, boot camp. When you are ready, sign up for the one-to-one app demo. When you come for the app demo, make sure the journal is complete, so that at the app demo, you are also submitting your journal to the mentor. At the same time, the mentor is going to evaluate your app and look at your code, right? So the two things will happen at the same time. Pause. Questions? I've been talking a lot.
Just about the app demo, I think I may be a little confused. So when they finish the independent learning and they come to the app demo, we give them the scenario, like you showed those cases, the use cases, right?
No, we give them the scenario before. You give them the scenario at the intro session.
And the intro session. Okay, so they go and they learn on their own. They
Yep.
come with the app demo, to demo their app.
Yep.
Now, after that, then there are these labs that they have to do, right?
Then the group lab. So once they attend the app demo, at the app
Right.
demo, right? Once they have showcased to you, you are completing the rubric and you are giving them feedback on the spot. You're not
Yeah,
gonna,
so they,
I will
yeah.
get back to you next week. You are giving them the feedback immediate, and immediate you tell them pass, or immediate you tell
Okay,
them.
and then they
not ready.
pass, and then they could do the group demo. Okay.
Then they sign
All
up
right.
for the group demo, right? Because it could be next week, 2 weeks time, depending on their schedule.
But by this time, they already have completed a lot of the work. You know, the independent work, and then the
Yes,
knowledge
yes.
of app development and all of that.
Yep.
Okay, I'll wait for the group
Yeah,
demo and
sure.
see how the link is gonna work between all of this.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
to me, as a mentor training, you came and then you develop an app and then asked you questions about it. You already have pretty good idea about the app development. You have already got enough knowledge. So I want to see what comes next after that to get the certification.
Very
Okay.
good question. Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just going to check
We-
whether there are any other questions. Because in
We
a
have
short
a
while,
raised hand
oh, I see that.
from Sampawat.
Yes, my friend.
I have a couple of questions. I wonder how would we evaluate the skill journal, like the very first part that we have, that we will let them explain the Apple experience, app development, inquire, design, those
Mm.
stuff. Like there is no like a rubric, right?
Hmm. That's a very good point. Actually, there is, but we're only going to cover that later because the bigger journal is the group lab journal, and so but there's a really good point. Actually, Carol, that point is something that's
Mhm.
worth thinking about because we don't tell people or we don't tell the candidates about journal requirements until much later. So I'm wondering whether or not we need to tell them, you know, what I mean, like that they need to complete the
Yeah.
journal, like not just draw one picture and fill the space, but actually think about the question, you know?
Yeah. My thought is that they are still early in this journey in the preparation phase. They will almost be like testing their skills in completing this journal, right? And I would encourage that you ask the participant to pull up the journal during the app demo session at the end. Take a couple of minutes to go through it. We may not evaluate them on this specific skills journal yet. We will focus on the app demo evaluation, but make sure that they complete the skills journal. Completion is more the focus on the skills journal. Then later on for the group lab journal, that is one that is very comprehensively assessed with a rubric. And at that time, they've already gone through the full journey. They also have more experience in really documenting all the learning in the group labs journal. So that's my thought, but we will take this question and feedback
Yep.
and think more about it and
Good feedback.
iterate on it if needed. Yes.
I think at least to be a bit more supportive to the mentors and maybe say like the 30 minutes for the one-to-one app demo, maybe you want to break it into a 10-10-10, you know what I mean, and use the first 10 minutes to do the app review, the next 10 minutes to get feedback, and then the final 10 minutes to look at the journal, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like very basic, you know what I mean? And even
that.
a true statement like at the beginning in the intro session when you say, this is the journal. There are a few questions. Please answer the question completely. You know what I mean? And if your comfort language is not English, please use the language that you're most comfortable with. You know what I mean? Because
Mm.
the last thing I want is someone, you know, who is maybe Thai or speaks some other language to like, oh, how do I answer this question? You know, because it is in English, you know, and so yeah, but I'm just thinking maybe that level of guidance maybe is helpful, but we do have a rubric, and I agree with Carol. If we tell people the rubric right at the start, we're going to frighten them away, because that rubric is really meant for the group lab journal because it's very big. You know, it covers for 2.5 hour session, and so we really put in a bit of effort to make sure that everybody need to do their best work. You know, yeah.
Is there another question?
I thought there was
Any another question?
anyone else. Hey, Leslie.
Hi. But I just want to share. I mean, for those who new to some sort of this kind of, because actually in the education team, actually we have been using journal to evaluate people as a trainer before. But in this stage, or actually the journal itself actually help the mentor to evaluate the people putting effort in it. So you will understand like how the people actually treating this process. Instead, it is not an exam. It is of course an assessment, but it is not an exam. So actually, we are not asking people to do what we want them to do, but we want, capable people being a trainer that can help to, facilitate other people to learn with. So during the process, the journal actually is more reflective in a way that you as a mentor can understand the people, understand the person more, in a clearer way.
And then, I mean, when they put more effort or when they put effort in writing or I mean and giving effort in the journal, you can see that. Or if they are, I mean, I'm very, very busy, I just want to write a few words there. Then you will also understand like what the people is expecting or treating this program. So this journal, I mean, especially at this stage, I mean, at the stage of like reflecting on their experience. Of course, the app demo is something else, like because they really need to build an app. They need to demonstrate their technical skills and also showcase how they design an app, which they can share with other people afterwards. And as Parth mentioned, actually, in the group labs section, we will also have more, conversation on facilitation, how to train, how to be a trainer. So I mean, after the break, we will talk about that. But I think in this stage, especially when you are evaluating an individual, actually, apart from the skills or actually we are also taking care of like the people mindset and their attitude towards being a ACT. So this journal, actually, you may not need a really, but I mean, as a mentor, we may need to look at that to see if you understand the person, if they really put effort or if they really have that kind of experience. It is not really something you can market, but you will see it. Usually when we look at the journal, we will give them some feedback. Okay, this experience is really interesting, and we will discuss with them. Or okay, just 1-2 words here. Are you talking about maybe, or have you got something more? We'll ask them, or we will invite them to share more on this. So that is a more personal interaction in this way. So this journal actually is facilitating the mentors to understand. And of course, I mean, if we are, handling a lot of participants, we want that to be a standard. But frankly, I mean, we are looking for capable person and also people with good attitude to be a trainer, to facilitate others to learn with. So that's why the journal actually may not have such a benchmark like, okay, what you have to write here. But instead, as a mentor, we want everyone to understand like this one actually help you to understand your candidates in, I mean, how much effort they are putting and then how their experience actually really related to become a capable trainer in future. I just want to share a bit of my thought. I mean,
great.
because we have been enabling a lot of like APLS, I mean, professional learning specialists before. So we cannot tell you a mark or really a rubrics, whether they put like reflection like this will be a fail or pass, no fail or pass, as like we have discussed with Ivan before. So this one is what always help you as a mentor. As a mentor, we also, I mean, expecting mentor to be, you have your professional to understand the people, to help the people to get on board, and then help. I mean, we also evaluating people in a way that we try to understand the people. I mean, to see if they are capable to become a trainer, to become, I mean, to help other people to learn with us. So I mean, the journal itself may not, especially in this stage. I mean, this is the first journal that they need to submit. So I also agree, like we will have rubrics afterwards in the group lab, but we may not need to emphasize our rubrics here, because if you emphasize our rubrics here, then people will just finish what you mentioned in the rubrics, but you cannot see whether they will put effort in it. So it is more on the attitude, frankly. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Leslie, on that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think we've done a decent job in covering the intro segment. We looked at the journal, we looked at the app review material. We can have a short break, and then when we come back, we can go through the group lab material.
Sure. How much time do we have for the break?
And then I'll let Carol decide.
Carol, yeah.
Well, let's go for that's a big responsibility, big for the day. So let's do a 10-minute break.
Yes.
We will come back at 21 past the hour.
Okay.
All right. We'll
And
see
then
you
this
back
one?
here.
Well, when you hear our voices, then you can just come back. So yeah.
Yes, we'll leave the, I mean, speaker open. I mean, switch on, and then we will see like when you
All
call,
right.
then we are coming back. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
See you back here.
See you.
See you. Bye-bye.
You.
Awesome. Carol, I just sent you a message.
Slack, iMessage, WeChat, where?
WebEx.
Ah, WebEx.
That's a good one. It's too funny.
Wait, where? I'm not seeing any.
Is there another Carol?
Oh. Okay, hang on. I will.
Awesome. So while we are like gently waiting for everybody to come back, once you're back, if you could like just either you can of course show us your face, but if you're not, if you give us a thumbs up so we know you're back, that'll be great. So we can kick off. Awesome. So we're gonna go through the 3 group lab sessions, but we're probably gonna spend the longest in group lab 1, because group lab 1 is probably the most different, right? And we're gonna do like one activity that's in the content where we are gonna do it, right? Just so that you don't look at the activity and go like, what? I'm gonna give them how many minutes to do what? Like, you know what I mean? Like trying to visualize the activity is so different from having done it. So we are actually gonna do it. But for the group lab 2 and 3, we're just gonna walk through because I think it's a little bit more self-explanatory. So if you can humor me in a few minutes to actually engage in an activity and try your very best to be excited, that'll be fantastic, right? I think everybody's back, so I am gonna go through the slides. So Carol, I'll put up the group lab slides first.
Okay.
Awesome. So again, if you look at the box folder, earlier we went through some things. We went through the introduction, right? So that's a keynote. We also went through the one journal, right, where we just finished the conversation about that journal, and then we went through the app demo rubric, right? So there were 2 pages documents and 1 keynote deck, right? So we've done that. Now we're going to go through group lab. The group lab, although there are 3 separate segments, it's 1 keynote deck, right? It's 1 keynote deck, but there's going to be delivered in 3 sessions. There have been several GOs that have asked, can we do it all together, right? Because it's 2.5 hours for each session. Could we, kind of like do, I don't know, 5 hours, have a break, and then do another? It's completely up to you how you want to do it, but just know that there are 3 parts, right? You know your audience better than anyone else, and so you can probably recommend. Again, the way the material has been prepared is for this to be delivered virtually. We have also been asked, could it be delivered in person? That is, of course, possible. Probably more engaging when it comes to group work, and discussion, which is slightly more difficult to do when you're on WebEx. So just raising those things. So I'm just gonna play this. So you will realize that some things are quite similar, because remember that it might have been a while since they did the intro session. And when they did the one-on-one demo, there was just 1 candidate and 1 mentor. And this would be the session now. They are with other people. We're thinking 15 is a good number. Anything more than that will be a little bit challenging. And I know some of you are used to running sessions where you have got far more people. But as we go through this, you will kind of understand why you will want to keep the number to within I would say 15, but some of you might think maybe 18 or 20, and you can make the decision, right? So just going through the online workshop best practices, running through the overview again to let people know where they are in the process, right? They've finished the intro, they've finished the app demo, they are now at the group lab session, right? So important for them to know, and also for them to know that there is a journal different from the one that they did before that they are going to need to complete when this process is over. And we then will go through the fact that this is a 3-stage process, and each stage is 2.5 hours. So there are 3 modules. inquire, design, and deliver. Here, I hope everyone who has access to the box folder, maybe you want to open the Group Lab journal, right? Later, I might go through it, but honestly, unless you have got questions, I will leave that to later on just to run through and check that everything's fine, right? As I go through the slides, my suggestion, have the Group Lab journal open, because then you can see what the candidate will be seeing. Because my expectation for the candidate would be, as we are engaging in activity, to have the journal open as a way for them to take notes, as a way for them to reflect on the process, and also to complete certain activities that we will ask them to complete, right? So you can follow along in that way, that'll be perfect. What we will want to explain to them while we are highlighting the journal is the fact that we will want them to use the journal in this way. Add responses, take notes, and to input reflection. At any stage, they can add more pages if they so choose. We will also let them know that here, for this journal, there will be an evaluation rubric, right? And they will have, I think we're going to give them like a couple of days after the last Group Lab session to then complete the journal before they submit it. And so when they submit it, the mentor will need to review it for these 4 segments. And it is possible, it is entirely possible, if there is a candidate, which we hope will never happen, who either did not complete the journal or did not complete the journal satisfactorily, for them to need to revise and resubmit. I do not ever hope that there will be somebody who will get that section that says in red, not recommended at this time, right? This may happen, probably someone who either, remains, you cannot communicate with them on WebEx, they're not available, they're not around, you assign them a group, they don't turn up, they don't do the journal, but they are present, and so there needs to be a way when we do the evaluation to give them feedback that, hey, we saw you on WebEx, but as you submitted your journal, it clearly shows that you were not either paying attention or you were not following in the lesson. And so, you need to sit through the entire thing again, right? But otherwise, I don't see why that would happen. But we do cater for that just in case. So again, if you look at the journal, the specifics of the rubric are all there. I've got them on slides as well, but I don't think we need to go through what an excellent, above average. They're quite general. I think more important is the fact that we're looking at completeness, reflection, their technical understanding, their pedagogy, as well as their presentation and communication skills, right? And we're not in any way interested to fail someone. We just really want people to put in the effort, as what Leslie said, and of course, express themselves in the way that makes sense to them, whether they are using the Apple Pencil, whether they are typing it out, whether they are recording their voice and adding an audio note. It really is up to them, right? And that's the beauty of journal. So just pausing now. Anyone has any thoughts on rubric as we move ahead? Okay.
Pav, may I add that
Please. Yes.
for this Group Lab series, not specific to the journal, but participants should join all 3 sessions in one trunk, right? We don't want people to break it up to say, oh, I can only join Group Lab 1 and then wait to join the second one or the third one in 5 weeks down the road, right? The ideal experience that we want them to get, and it's important for their learning, is that they attend all 3 segments of the Group Lab together, one after another, right? And that would be easier for you to manage as well. So, and another thing, Pav, maybe you will get to is that with this evaluation rubric that you just showed, we do want to set a standard. So those with 20 or above total scores are considered approved for passing the certification. So out of 25, the passing score should be 20 in this case.
That's a good point. I had forgotten that. Sorry.
No, that's great.
Okay, we move on to module 1. I'll start with a brief overview of the module and then we'll dive in. So, like I said, 2.5 hours. We'll do a like what I just did, a little bit of an overview. This is the group lab session. It's done in 3 segments. This is the journal. This is how the journal should be used. This is the rubric, and that will be the overview. And then we'll go into an energizer. We won't do that today, but I'll tell you what the energizer is. Where we'll spend a little bit of time is on challenge-based learning and the activity, right? We won't obviously spend 70 minutes on the activity, but we will go through it briefly so that you understand what that activity is about. I think Ali asked a really important question that he deferred to later, which is now, which is what exactly is going to be covered in the group lab sessions that makes it different, right? And the first thing that makes it different is the fact that the inquire segment is really about helping a potential instructor understand how to weave challenge-based learning into instructing with Swift, right? And wherever you look, you go to developer.apple.com, there isn't an example, right? That is not something that is you can find easily, but we want to be able to demonstrate, at least in terms of how to facilitate uh, a session, an ideation session, right? And that is what we will do in Inquire. And later, when we go on to the second segment of design, then we will help the instructor to design a lesson that involves challenge-based learning. And then, of course, when the final stage is when they deliver. And that really is up to them to be able to deliver and get peer feedback from the other people in the group, right? So the biggest difference in the group lab sessions is going to be to not just treat the lesson and the instruction as what you would find if you went onto develop.apple.com, picked up content and said, okay, I'm going to deliver it as is. We want to be able to equip instructors with some new skills that leverage on their own training as instructors, pedagogy, together with Apple's challenge-based learning framework to be able to then exhibit some innovation when it comes to app development, right? And so I'm talking, but we will soon be demonstrating what that means. So you will find Inquire is heavy on challenge-based learning. And at the end of it, we will present to them what assignment 1 is, and then we will send them off. Maybe the session 2 will come the following day. Depending on some of you, session 2 might come 30 minutes later. Who knows, right? But session 2 is a separate 2.5 hours. So let's go through what Inquire looks like. The Energizer, and if you are on the keynote, you will know, is a very simple question. That is, what's the difference between Xcode and Swift? Remember, this is not meant to be a question that makes people go, I don't know the answer. It's meant to be an opportunity for people to talk, right? So we want to be able to have people, we want to send people off into rooms where they are with one other person, right? We just want them to be able to break down the ice. I'm assuming there's going to be people who don't know each other. There will be other people who know each other. Some people will know the answer to this. Some people will not know the answer to this, but will think they know, right? So we want the 2 people to just talk. Hey, what do you think? What is Xcode? Now, what is Swift? Now, which one is the language? Which one is the application? I don't really know. I can't remember. I'm confused, right? It doesn't matter. We just want them to talk to each other, take a couple of minutes, and then come back and share, right? And here is you are the mentor, like, all right, that's about 5 minutes. You know, what do you all think? I might just do this. I'm not going to give you all time to think, but I might just ask, does anybody know the difference? Anyone want to share, try, guess? Please don't let me down. There must be somebody who knows. Boom. I've got to call on people I know.
Okay. So
Don't let me down. The whole of Thailand is depending on you.
uh I should say the difference between the Xcode and Swift is that the Swift itself is a programming language from Apple, and the Xcode is talking as a developer. It is an IDE, or it's a development tools that you will create an app through the Xcode.
Anyone else want to add or give a different slant or different explanation?
Oh, I think you got it right. I mean, I mean, it depends on who's your audience, really, right?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. So who's you talking to? I mean, if you talk purely to developers, they might understand what he said. But if you introducing it to somebody that no clue, I mean, then it's totally different explanation, you know. But yeah, in general, Swift is what we use to develop mobile apps, and then the Xcode is really the mother of all tools to put everything together and enable to develop it, test it, debug it, publishing it on the App Store, and all of that. It's a big tool that you can do a lot of things with it. But in a summary, that's what it is. Yeah.
So both of you have said something really important, right? Poom answered it from a perspective that he's comfortable with, right? Which is as a developer. And then Ali brought up a really good point, which is, wait a minute, it all depends on who you're talking to, right? And both of you are right. And the third thing is, it's super important for us to clarify this at this early stage, because like these two words are going to be used, and sometimes people use the words interchangeably when they shouldn't, right? And so it's important to be clear as mentors and as instructors. They need to know it, and they need to be able to write it down in language that is familiar to them. So at the end of the discussion, there is a space in that journal where they're like, and what is the answer? And how would I write it? And even if I thought I knew, wait a minute, someone else in this group shared a really good perspective. Let me add that. Oh, Amit said this. Leslie, oh, okay, awesome. You know what I mean? So like it adds to their toolkit of responses that now makes it easy for them when they are teaching to be able to run this activity. Right. So
Shall I
that's
tell
what
a
we're
fun
doing.
fact about Swift
Yes.
and Xcode?
Say again?
So shall I tell a fun fact about Swift and Xcode?
Yeah.
So we use Xcode to write Swift, but Xcode itself is also written in Swift. So wrap your head around that. So which came
That's true.
before, Swift or Xcode?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean you're gonna start a war, and like, yeah. But that's a good,
I'm just
that's a
kidding.
really important fun fact. Yep. I had forgotten about that, but I just wanted to explain the metacognition of like why this, why here, right? And what purpose it serves. So that you can understand, right? So this is like the opening of the of module 1, right? Hopefully at the end of this, people are like, "Ooh, I'm having a good time." Like I at least know one other person now who I've just spoken to, and now they are ready for like what's coming up next. And what's coming up next is like maybe 5 or maybe 7 minutes of you talking, right? And there's a really nice visual of challenge-based learning, right, that we share as a way to like kick it off. Some people may know what challenge-based learning is. Honestly, a lot of people will not. Some people may have heard of it. A lot of people will not. And so you just want to introduce challenge-based learning as a framework, and that there are 3 parts to this framework, right? And they're all interconnected. They're not separate. There is the engage, there is the investigate, and there is the act phase. At this stage, you are not going to go into the specifics. What you are going to do is talk about the end. Like, why is challenge-based learning helpful, important, valuable in the context of app development? And this is because it helps us to develop and think about durable skills that are going to be essential in our learners. And these are the skills that are reflected on screen, right? Because these skills are important and necessary for all people as they think about how to address a challenge. So challenge-based learning is a learning process, and it's also a way for students and our learners to demonstrate an adaptability and resilience to learn, unlearn, and relearn, right? And that is important. At this stage, that is going to be the focus. I'm just going
I have a
to,
question.
yes,
if
please ask
if
me.
I may.
Yes, sorry, Amit. Yes.
So this is Amit. So you said that the maximum number of participants is something that's up to us, but usually about 15 should be a good number. Now, is
Yep.
there a minimum number in terms of, and then do we break the audience into like smaller groups for this discussion and then they share? Like how will the sessions
Minimum
work?
number, Carol, thoughts?
Not really. I would say for your time and efficiency, right? I would recommend at least 5, 6 students so that they can also, participants, so that they can interact and have an energizing, interactive experience with each other. And then to Paf's point, 15 also, then break them into smaller groups. Will be ideal. What is the typical size that Amit that you've seen in India in the past delivery? I know there's different
So
format.
usually, yeah. So usually when we do like a train the trainer session, it's usually about 10 to 12. For the teach packs, we do about a group of 6. So 6 to 8 is for the teach packs typically. So that's the numbers.
Yeah, the same. I mean, in the event, the maximum was 10. I mean, to do 10 teach back it used to be a challenge but it was a condensed teach back. Like, you have to do all the delivery within the number of days, the number of hours. So this one is giving you a little bit more flexibility in terms of you can schedule it at your own pace, I guess, and then. This one, the group labs, I mean, is it going to be scheduled like the teach backs used to be, or is that up to the instructors on how to arrange that? Does that make sense, or?
You said we
Yes.
do all the 3 in one go, I guess, right? But what's
I think
the typical gap?
the thinking is maybe to like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of like one, on consecutive days, possibly.
Okay.
I don't think we've had anyone think about like every Monday for 3 weeks, or like it's probably too far apart. But we've had people maybe talk about a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but all completed within a
Within a week,
condensed
okay.
period of time. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's also about a bit of the collaboration between the geo lead and every mentor, because in some situation, maybe even if we have not many people, but we want to enable them in that period of time, then maybe it will be in a very small size. But at the same time, if we need to enable a lot, sometimes as a geo lead, I'm responsible for Hong Kong, Taiwan. So sometimes I also thinking like maybe I'm engaging 2 mentors at the same time to enable a larger group. So it's not only about the mentor, how to run the program, but also a collaboration between the geo lead and you and the AATCE, because in some way the AATCE may have a lot of people that are capable, but in the same time, so is the size itself. Of course, we need to keep the quality and keeping with enough time for people to interact, so we cannot have too many people. But for minimum, as we mentioned, we may not really have really a minimum, but it's the cost effective, as Carol mentioned. But you may work with your geo lead, your region, your geo, whether they have some specific lead on enabling the trainer at that moment of time.
And I think
So
this can also evolve as we learn more, as we do more programs, and as you
Mhm.
also get feedback. I think this can actually evolve
yes,
over a
this
period
can
of
be
time.
easier to, I mean, get feedback and see like how is it the typical size for that. And at the same time, it's also, I should say, it may be a bit regional specific as well, because in some way, it's also about the development in each of the region, the pacing of the development on each of the region may differs in this way. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Giovanni has a raised hand.
Yes, in Italy, in each session, in general, there were 4 or 5 people. I think it could be a solution to have the presentation meetings and the one-to-one quite regularly, and maybe the group session when there is an adequate number to reach it. Perhaps not every month, but when the number is adequate. Sorry for my English.
No, it's perfect.
Not at
It's
all.
perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I think so far everybody is on the same page. So just up to this point, you have seen a pair work. You know, I mean, the Energizer, 2 people. You know, I mean, so that's quite simple. The next activity is going to be the one that is done in a group, right? So, and there will be several activities that are done in group, and then once we do the activity, then we can talk about how many groups will be ideal. But just for this, for today, we're probably going to at the most break into 2 groups. But before we get there, let me just close off on this intro segment on challenge-based learning. So challenge-based learning has 3 parts. Then we talk about the durable skills, the importance of CBL to the app development approach, helping students be adaptable and really giving them a way to learn, relearn, and unlearn. Then really nice quotation, which is actually quite relevant because it comes from someone who's a coding mentor. And I really love this word mentor, and I'll explain. Because here she says, with CBL, mentors and participants are both student and teacher, right? And this is important because what you want your candidate, the certified trainers, when they leave and they go back to their institution, is to practice this, where they are not always the ones who know and have all the information. Sometimes their students may have information that they don't know. We all know that Swift UI, that Xcode, that Apple releases new APIs, new things every year. Come on, how many of us are on top of every single thing? We're not. There will be students who will know more than us, and we want to embrace it. We want to let the students teach other people. We will be the ones who will ask questions, guide their thinking, celebrate when they do something amazing, and ask them questions. And so at the beginning, the CBL process is a way for the instructor to accept his or her role that they are not experts, and that the students may eventually know more, and they are encouraged to become experts. And this process is a way for the instructor to assume the role as mentor and guide, and not as the absolute holder of all things related to Swift and Xcode. I think that's important. So this code is a way to like help the person understand, especially if at the intro session they didn't know Swift and they went for a boot camp. Maybe they have been learning Swift for like 3 months. They're obviously not, when they get qualified as instructor, going to become experts. How long would they have learned Swift? 6 months? Some of their students may have been learning it since they were 6 years old, right? So we want to be able to bridge that and help the mentor understand that, hey, you know what? Don't ever think of yourself as the boss. Just go in, help your students learn, and guide them through the process, because eventually they will know more than you. I think that's important. So that's what we want to do here, right? 3 slides, not going into any specifics of the framework, just establishing the philosophy behind it. Then is where we introduce the challenge. And the challenge that you, yes.
So sorry, may I also add a little bit more context on why this is important? So with the new AATCE program construct, the requirement is that all this instructors at AATCE will be using the developed in Swift tutorials to teach their students Swift. And if you take a look at the tutorials, they are completely different in terms of construct on how students learn Swift compared to the books that were from Apple. So the instructors are no longer kind of delivering the knowledge of Swift in the traditional classroom way, where it's very much a student-led, instructors facilitated or supported learning experience. That's why kind of getting the instructor's mindset on using this CBL kind of technique or framework, however you may call it, is very important skill set that we wanted all these instructors to be equipped with through this experience. So Pat, back to you.
Yep.
I just wanted to highlight that.
No, I love when you interject, because then it gives me a chance to drink some water, stretch. So like, thank you. Like I always forget. So
Right.
awesome. So the challenge, right? And so this is like we were deliberately not going to go through into a lot of detail, because the best way to show is through action, right? So what we'll do is, this is the challenge, and we'll repeat this challenge slide several times. But when you first show it, some people will be like, what? You know what I mean? And you can tell them, if you want to take a screenshot, that's perfectly fine. You want to remember it, and copy it. But eventually, at the end of this activity, the aim would be to first ideate, then build. Build will be the assignment 1. And then eventually, if they want to, they can showcase an app that leverages on-device machine learning. Now, the beautiful part of challenge-based learning is you're leveraging on other people and not just yourself. Because if you were to think of ideas alone, some people are creative, some people are not, some people have a good day, some people have a bad day, and it all takes time. But if you put several brains together, things start to happen. And that is what we're going to do. So the task that is on the slide says that everybody whom you are instructing in your session will get to pick a breakout, and you will want to have breakouts of maybe about 4. Again, this goes back to how many people you have in total. If you have 10, maybe 2 breakouts. If you have 15, maybe 3 breakouts. If you have 6 people, you decide, right? So this is to be adjusted, right? What I have done is I've asked Carol to split us into 2 groups, right? And I will explain what will happen once you are in group, right? Once you are assigned to a group, I have already created, right, a free-form board, right? So step 1, pick a breakout, enter the breakout, make sure that the breakout does not have more people, even number. You can assign or you can let people pick. I'm a firm believer in letting people pick, right? Because it gives them agency. I chose this breakout as opposed to I was sent to a breakout. Then it will be open freeform. Then each breakout should create their own board, because you as a facilitator don't want to be involved in this. You don't want to do things for them. You want to get them to do it on their own. You see top left-hand corner, there is a time. So this is actually meant for facilitators. This is meant for you, like, how long should this take? About 5 minutes, right? Where they go into the breakout, they're like, okay, we're going to create freeform board. We should all have freeform. Someone is going to create it and share the link with the rest of the group. And then one person will put it up on screen in their breakout room. Okay. What do they then do? Remember, the question is first to ideate. In order to ideate, you want to do this. Write down on that freeform board everything that you are interested in and come up with as many ideas as possible. This is what we're going to do, because I've already created the freeform board. Carol has already created groups. And what I would like you to do before you do anything is to check the chat. The freeform board link is there. Please make sure you can open it. Now, I'm just going to close my eyes and ears if somebody tells me I've never opened freeform before, and I'm just going to pretend. So if it's your first time, just go ahead. It's okay, right? It's not complex. Anybody having difficulties with accessing the board or able to enter?
Yes, so I think I don't have iCloud enabled for freeform. So I do have, and I'm using
So
a
these
different
will
Mac.
be things that we will need to do before they attend. Please have iCloud, and this is please have freeform. You know what I mean? Because this is of course something that you don't want to have happen to you, and then you go like, what do I do now? I'm not going to give you an iCloud account, right? So these are things that we want to do. So okay. Carol, do we want to give them an option to join the two groups or send them off to
I
groups?
kind
Up
of
to you.
have the group breaks into two
Okay,
groups
awesome.
automatically, if that works.
Yeah.
So we have 3 and 3, and Path, then you can kind of jump into each, and Leslie too, as needed. Let me know when you want me to start the breakout.
Awesome. I think you can start.
Okay. So you should see the prompt to join the breakout room. Ivan, did you see the prompt? Path, should I move you into a breakout room?
Okay.
I think we can. But we are not the co-host, so actually we cannot move ourselves. If you
Oh,
make
let
you
me change you.
if you
Yes.
make Path and me as a co-host, then you can move around the breakout section.
Yes, I'm gonna do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you
Yes.
both are co-hosts now.
Yes. Then you can see the choose a section on the top right corner at with the participant panel. So actually we can move around and see if we want to get in and support their conversation.
Maybe I'll go to session 2. Session 2 only has 2 people.
Yes.
Yeah,
I will
Ivan
check with
hasn't
Ivan
joined.
because actually I'm asking him. Yeah, maybe he is
Perfect.
just like a bit like, yeah, I'm asking him and I'm texting him on message. So yeah, checking with him.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah, I may join section 1 first and see like
Yes.
how
And
the
I can
discussion.
stay in the main room and help
Yes.
Ivan out as well.
Yeah, I will ask Ivan.
Good.
Yeah, I'm calling him. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
right.
It's
So a
very-
little bit buggy. Some people access to freeform was great. Some people's access not so much. We are still wondering where everybody else is. Okay, people coming back. Just wait for everyone else. We're missing anyone? We are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the
One more. Not yet.
Are we still missing someone? Ah, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
One more.
Now we're good. Awesome. So let me share Keynote. So remember, right? The way we did it is slightly different from what's on screen because I'm still exploring whether or not it makes more sense to have one freeform board that all groups participate on and maybe take different parts of, which is maybe simpler, as opposed to each group creating their own board, right? So what you did was you got into your board and you then selected what you were interested in. You put down, and it took a while to get started. You know, like first 2 minutes are like, what are we doing? And then, I mean, there was a point where we were moving pretty fast, which is great. Now, we don't have to do the next step in our breakout rooms because we already know which part of the board we are using. So go back to whatever you have put down, all of the sticky notes. This time, group similar interests. So what you want to do is, and I know that, for example, group 2, we've got some physical things, I mean, and I know even group 1, you have that. So you may want to find a natural way of grouping all of those interests, right? So let's take 5 minutes, right? We're all in the same room. That's perfectly fine. We all know which part of the board we are going to work on. Let's not go to the other group's board, right? And let's just organize the stickies in some order, right? And let's not wait. Let's all go and see whether what makes sense. And then someone give each group a little title. Okay, so let's 5 minutes. So I see that happening already. Perfect. Give the group a title. Ooh. That is amazing. Fitness and wellness. I have a feeling that more people are working on the group 1 board and fewer people are working on group 2. But that's just, it doesn't matter. I just have this feeling.
It may be good to have one freeform board, but I mean having different area as well. Sometimes when we work and then we can like putting like a large box there, like putting like group 1, group 2 there, and then we are working on the same board, but actually we can seeing each other in a way that is easier to collaborate. But we still have the like some area of focus when we discuss together. I mean, in some APL event, actually we do it this way. I mean, having a large board, but we have set some area for them to work on, and then afterwards they can see each other. But at the same time, yeah, we don't need to have a lot of link to every group freeform. Yeah.
No, I agree, Leslie. I think that's a simpler, more efficient also. Yep.
Yes.
Agree. Good point.
Yes.
Awesome. Let's check. I think we are okay. More or less. Oh, that's nice. I see that lovely pink background on group 1. Very cool. Whoever chose the color, love it. Actually tell how people think, how organized we are. Like one group is very particular about font size, font in the other group, not so much. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. Yeah, maybe another 2 minutes. Well, let's wait for the new pink background to appear. Oh, it's not going to be pink. Ali, I can tell. Who's that? Is that Amit? Or one of you?
I did not do the pink. No, it wasn't me.
No,
The pink one, the mint colors.
the mint color. I like that. Yep. Okay, so
Very nice.
assume second phase complete. What's next? So we have come up with as many ideas as we possibly could in group. Then we repositioned our ideas and brought similar interests together. Now, select one. In among all of the ideas, select one. Select one, but that one needs to be one that most members of your group are interested in. So this is what I suggest. Maybe take you can do it this way, right? It could be a dot, right? And then ask people to vote,
Mm.
right? So that allows you to pick which one that everybody likes, right? Without necessarily getting anyone worked up, like, oh, you know what, you didn't pick the one I liked, right? So let's take maybe like 2 minutes for everybody to use your one vote, right? And then let's see in our groups which of those ideas has the most number of votes, right? Could be a dot, could be a star, could be a flag, could be, doesn't matter, right? Whichever way to vote, right? So that within each one of our groups, we have selected one idea. Group one, there's an awkward looking diamond that doesn't seem to need to be there, but it is somehow.
I think that's a big vote from someone, potentially.
The size of the object does not count. Yeah, no.
Oh,
That
yeah.
won't make a good-
It's not about the size. It's about the
Yeah,
vote.
it's the size.
Wow, now we get into competition.
Yeah, man.
The
Group
shape.
2 is very
and-
subdued. Group 2 is very subdued. It's like, again, another minute. Looks like we've got a winner. The group 1 looks like they've picked the body posture, exercise, fitness, and wellness. And then group 2, there doesn't only seem to be 2 votes, but it seems to be traveling. So, there anyone else who hasn't voted, now is time. But honestly speaking, if you're going to vote for something that no one has voted on, it won't make sense. And just as I mentioned that somebody goes and votes for something that no one has voted on. Oh, too funny. Okay, so we have selected one interest at each of our groups. Now, what do you want to do? And this is something that we won't necessarily do now. Is you want to then have the groups talk to another group, right? So if you have 3 groups, you want to rotate, right? You want them to like, okay, right? And you just want to mix people up, like, hey, and have people talk to each other and go like, why did your group choose this one? You know, like, why did they choose travel? Or why did you choose travel? You know, like what is so great about travel? Or what is it about health and wellness that is important? And this is taking ownership, because I guarantee you within the group, there will be people who are like, I didn't choose it. I didn't do it. I have no idea. Like I didn't listen when they were talking. And you don't want that to happen. Everybody needs to have been listening and paying attention and be able to talk to, oh, this was the reason. Even though I didn't agree, this is what I remember other people in the group saying about the choice. Right? And then you ask the same question. Why did your group choose this? Oh, okay. I see. I'm now having you recount the thinking process that happened in your group. And the same way I am recounting the thinking process that I went through in my group, right? So it's a little bit of a reflection, but not done in a typical way, because you're getting people to talk to each other about the process. So that's what's going to happen. This talking, this asking questions, right? Very important. Once that's done, then there could be feedback like, wait a minute, what aspect of traveling? What are you talking about? Are you talking about like getting a train? Are you talking about getting on an aeroplane? Are you talking about what to do while traveling? Like which part of traveling, right? And maybe the group didn't think about it. And so it'd be like, wait a minute, let me write it down. Which part of traveling? Question mark. Right? And in the same way, when we talk about group one, there is this thing about health. It's like, I don't understand what you mean by body posture. Can you explain? So maybe it's like, we need to clarify body posture, question mark, right? So you're getting feedback from the other person who wasn't in your group about what your group chose. And they would be relevant questions because you would not know the answer to them and you would not be able to explain them, which is fine. You write them down. So at the end of this process, when you go back to the group, everyone would have assembled questions about their choice that maybe they hadn't discussed yet or they hadn't shared among the group. So this will be the time for the group to like, wait a minute, when we talked about traveling, what exactly do we want to think about? When we talk about health, which aspect of fitness is it that we are focusing on? So now we use the feedback to develop a clearer explanation, right? That's the purpose of the feedback. Once that's done, remember, think about new things. It could be, oh, actually now that I think about it, maybe you don't want to do traveling. Maybe let's change, let's do something else. Or maybe it's like, traveling is really great, but we should now think about rail travel, because a lot of feedback came and talked about train. Should we look at trains? Or should we look at buses? Or should we look at, so a new idea could come based on feedback, right? And so this would be time within the same group one and group two, to think about how do we further develop that one idea so that it becomes clearer, a clearer representation of what we want to work on. Are there any potential problems or challenges that people raised that they were not clear about when we explained it to them? Then we go to a completely different group, mix the group up again, right? And now you mix the group up and have one group that looks at fitness, wellness, and health, and try very hard to find all the problems related to this. And have another group looking at travel and try to find all the problems related to that. Like, why would it not work? What are the issues? Why is it not clear? And they write down and they add new post-its and new sticky notes. Much easier because they are not the group. Or even if there's one member who was in the group, that person is in the minority, so it doesn't matter. And everybody gives that feedback. Once that is done, you then have the original group go back, look at everything that has been written, and pick among all of the things written about health, wellness, fitness, the one specific area they want to focus on. considering all of the problems and obstacles that people have pointed out, they need to identify the one. In the same way, the group that did travel need to go look at it and say, in spite of all these things, which is the thing that we want to do? Because now we are a little bit more clear about potential pitfall and problems. Once they have selected that, we all come back to the main room. Because now every group, both groups have selected that one thing already. And that whole process that they have gone through is a rigorous process because, firstly, the instructor was not involved. The instructor didn't give any feedback. The instructor didn't pass any judgment. The instructor didn't say your idea was good, your idea was bad, you didn't think about this. It was all done at the peer level. Peers did the feedback. Peers came up with ideas. Peers came up with questions. Peers are the ones that came up with potential pitfalls and problems. And as a peer group, they then decided, in spite of all these things, this is what I want to work on. So at the end, the question that we want everybody to think about is, how did you feel? Right? Because when you started and you asked you to come up with ideas, what ideas? Like, I'm not in the mood to come up with ideas right now. I'm not in a creative mood, right? But as people come up with ideas, I came up with ideas. As people came up with thinking, I came up with thinking. As I got through the end of the process, I'm a lot more excited and engaged about this than I was at the start. And that is because the people around me give me fuel and give me the reason to continue. And I also see my idea becoming clearer, more focused, as compared to what I started with. Now, remember that we didn't go through the process. So when you look at it, it hasn't evolved much. But when you actually go through this process, you will see lots of sticky note. You will see people using Apple Pencil, people typing. And the nice part about it is you won't know who it is. So you can't go up to that person and say, Leslie, why did you do that? You know, you can't, because you don't know. You know, that's the beauty of it. People are giving you feedback and ideas, and you are like looking at them without judgment, which is what is important. At the end of this process, after people have reflected and thought about the activity, is when you go and talk a little bit about the specifics. What is challenge-based learning actually about? Because each segment, the engage phase, as well as the investigate, right, and act, has got different components. This is the time where you talk a little bit about the components. We're not expecting people to remember, but we do want to give them an idea of what is a big idea, what is an essential question, what is a challenge, right? The same way, what are guiding questions and activities? Now, in the activity that we just did, what we got people to do was come up with ideas, which was really ideate without feeling restricted. That phase of it was coming up with essential questions. That's all we did. We did one small segment of it. We didn't do more than that. In the whole process of app development, there will, of course, be different things that they will do. And some of these things we are very familiar with. For example, we will want them to think about, where am I going to get material that I need to learn to create this particular part of my app? Where do I get my resources? Some of the resources will come from developer.apple.com. Some of the resources will come from this person in my group who is the best UI UX person ever. So he's going to help me. This other part of it is going to come from someone whom I know, who has spent a lot of time on this particular thing, and I'm going to ask them. Right? So each part of the process has got different things that will remind them of stuff they need to do. But the beauty of it is it's not instructor-led. You don't need to tell them. You are providing them with a guiding approach that they can use. So at this phase, you are just going through the process and sharing with them what it is about. Now, you will realize that the presenter notes are very detailed. They are incredibly detailed, and I don't need to go through each one, right? It would be great if you spent a little bit of time exploring. You will realize for each one of the 3 phases, there is a little bit of an activity page, which is like, what is investigate or engage and investigate? For example, when we talk about health and wellness, so coincidental. And I also had the same idea, right? How would you think about it? When I think about this idea, what are ways in which I can improve it? Whom can I talk to? What can I do next? ACT is something we are all familiar with, because you know what? We always jump to this space the fastest. When it comes to app development, we don't actually think so much about the idea. We think straight to like, let's go into Xcode and build it now. Solution. The solution is important, but not necessarily the most important thing, because you need to think about, what does the user need? How does the user need it? What should it look like? What is the best way to build it? And then go about putting it into action and then get feedback. So these are the phases of challenge-based learning that you want to go through. And then I give people an opportunity to think about it. The other part of our challenge-based learning is, you will see in small font at the bottom, documentation, reflection, and sharing. We did a lot of work in group. We had material within the journal for them to update, and we had opportunity for them to move from one group to a different group to be able to talk to someone different about the process. That is also part of challenge-based. So at that stage, what you will do is get everybody, after you have spoken, to go back to their group. In group, find at least 2 resources, links, or examples related to their choice. So whether it's health and wellness, travel, that will help them to build an app on that topic and add it to the freeform board. So for this, they can go online, they can go to developer.apple.com, they can get an example of an app that they think looks amazing and put that. So if there's 6 people in the group, there should at least be 12 resources, right? So each person finds 2 things. After that phase, then you present assignment 1. They don't do this in the session. They do this on their own after. You want each person to create an app that leverages on-device machine learning. They could use the topic that they had chosen as a group, but they don't have to. Why? Maybe Amit. In my group, everybody wanted to do health and wellness. I secretly didn't want it. I wanted to do something else. So now is the time in my assignment 1, I will do and work on the app that I wanted to build, and let everybody else do the same thing. Of course, if you build an app that leverages on the resources that your team has put together, questions that your team has asked, all of the potential challenges that your team has raised, you're probably going to have an easier time. But you are free to go and create anything on something else, right? And this is where we will leave them and let them go and create it, and then come back the next day to be able to share whatever they have built. At this stage, I'm going to pause, take a drink of water, and let you ask questions.
The question here so they came up with the idea in the first part. The assignment, like they don't need to work on it in a group. They can work each one of them individually.
Yep.
And they can pick any topic that can be implemented in the first idea.
Yep.
And there, okay, so all right, and then okay, all right. Okay.
I've got a question.
Yep.
About the ideation session. I saw that we have ideate, build, and showcase sticky notes, but we haven't done anything to the build phase and showcase phase.
No, which is no. So this is the build, right?
Yeah.
So the assignment 1 is build.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
I think
but yeah, sorry, go ahead. But the build is not really a full-blown app. It's just basically part of the app. Yeah.
Okay.
A question. Based
Yep.
on the timeline, the group lab session is supposed to be after the one-on-one app demo.
Yes.
So this iteration is already done. I mean the individual participant after the intro session, then he'll do an app and then come to this group lesson session, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my leading question to this. Is that like if they he's saying that they've done some of this already in the first part when they learned on their own and then they demoed an app. Now we're going through the process, a formalized process that we recommend for them on how to go about coming up ideation, coming up with an idea, validating these ideas, and then go ahead and then implement some of it. So I think the first part, it could be just an ad hoc method of doing it. This one is a more structured method of doing it that we're recommending.
Yep.
Okay.
You will realize that the assignment one eventually they can build, they will add to it. You know what I mean? So it won't be, okay, build an app. You're not going to do anything with this app. It was just meant for an assignment, right? It's just for show, right? So we want to be able to have them leverage on the app that they build and later be able to use it throughout session 2 and session 3. So it's going to be continuous, right? And so there's a reason for it, right? And we also deliberately picked machine learning because typically it's one of the more challenging things to do. It's also quite new, right? And so anyone who has been using our material for a while may, number one, either not have gotten to this part yet, or have looked at this part and gone, I don't want to do this, right? So we're bringing it and making it front and center and having them actually dive into it so that it no longer becomes something that they're worried about or that they're unfamiliar with.
Yep. And I would also add that just this extra step in the process, even though they felt like they might have done it before or in preparation of the app demo, is that this is the construct or the framework they can then experience, but then bring it to their classroom for their students. They need to know it, they experience it, but then they turn around and kind of work with their students in this way, using this framework.
Yeah.
So the session is about 2.5 hours long, right? This first session. And then at the end of first session, they will build this assignment. And again, if we do it in continuation, will they have enough time to actually build something? Because,
that has been the feedback that I've given the geo leads when they said, we would love to do it in one day. Then I'm like, yeah, gonna be difficult because there's assignment 1, there's assignment 2, like people need time. And so, yeah.
Well, in India,
No, even the group discussion. Sorry for interrupting.
Sorry, both of you are talking at the same time. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ali.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So what I was saying is that in India, what happens is that typically the college or school, the faculty would be there from like 9 to 4. And then once they're gone, then most of them don't have their own personal device. They don't have a Mac, and because usually they work in the lab, and they would not have access to an actual device all the time because they would have one device like an iPhone or an iPad shared across multiple faculty and students. So even building a machine learning would require, having a device at hand. Again, so maybe we need to sort of fine tune that.
We might need to build that in and say working hours. X number of hours required. For assignment 1, something like that. even though there isn't an instructor sitting with you, it still requires you to be sitting down at your workstation doing something.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah,
other
that makes
things that I think we need to consider also when we introduce this is that based on my experience in the past, that a lot of people don't even have to they know how to use Mac when they come to to these things, and then using the free form and then having these settings and things like that, it's gonna add challenges to this process, and then it might be prolonged. That activity, it might take longer than even just the ideation process, come up with it, and then back and forth and these things. Logistically, I think it's going to take a bit of time to get used to it and then fine tune it. It's not easy thing to do online. And I've seen it, even smaller tasks than this, and then it's going to be a bit something to refine over time and see how is it going to work. Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to
Yeah.
be well set up for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't
But
think.
Yeah.
I think the process is good.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but feedback is well taken, Ali. I
Yeah.
mean, like especially if it's virtual. I mean, like the pre-setup needs to be done well so that everybody. I mean, like Apple ID. I mean, make sure that the app is installed and things like that as much as is possible. I mean, to help the individual do whatever they can so that they are ready.
Yeah, I
But-
think just a reference, even with WebEx, just simple WebEx, sometimes we face a lot of challenges with the students, with the mentors trying to figure out how to use WebEx. So we're adding a little bit more complexity to it. I think this activity is excellent. I think also face-to-face will have a lot more value to it. Both are good, but I think if I have the opportunity, I would like to do this face-to-face with the groups, and this would be a really good activity to do. Yeah.
That's a very good point.
That's
It's a very
great.
good point.
Yeah. And Ali, in that case, I think that definitely is a point of discussion with Mike, who's our geo lead in EMEA, as you plan out the scheduling and the format of the sessions. I will also highlight that what may help when you talk about those challenges is the Apple teacher training, right? So participants in this case have already gone through the Apple teacher on iPad and Mac, so they should hopefully have better familiarity in working with Mac. That doesn't solve the WebEx, right? Familiarity. That will still take some setup for sure.
Maybe it's a good point to bring up since we're talking about these challenges. I think it's going to take a more dedicated individuals to go through this program. And in terms of investment, time investment, commitment to the program, that is a bit different than what it used to run. So two things that I want you to take back and then to discuss. One of them is that actually that boot camp becomes very important, very necessary. And then the typical issues that you're going to find with that is the funding, because in addition to the commitment from the instructors themselves that they're willing to do this, who's going to do the training? Because if you're going to leave it, if you go to approach a university and then say, look, well, we can do this certification for you, they're going to say, what are you going to offer for us? What are you going to do for us? And then not to compare it to other vendors, they say we don't have the funding for it. So you need this program to be sustainable. You need to bring in clients to it. But the boot camp, the training becomes essential to this part, to continue this part, to this journey. This is one thing that I think you need to think about seriously, because based on my experience, the minute that you say you need to commit, you can say, okay, who's going to do the training? Who's going to do the funding? Who's going to pay for it?
And then how do you maintain the quality? Because most colleges would look for the cheapest boot camp available if budget is a constraint, right? So they would not
Yeah.
worry about the quality, and the consistency then becomes an issue across different colleges. One which has enough funding, and one which probably does not have that type of funding available.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
becomes a
Well
challenge.
noted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the
I would
AATC
say
Go ahead. Sorry, can I finish that second point?
yes.
And then
Yes,
yeah,
please do.
yeah, and then that becomes the AATCE is not just simple label on campus. Because if it is just a simple label on campus, like we have an AATCE, okay, because I've already suffered from this. Like I already, like, when I tried to sell it to the management and say, okay, what's it? What okay, I'm gonna invest, or if they pay for the training, if I'm gonna do the instructors, and then I'm gonna dedicate their time to do this and go through this process, what's the outcome of this? Just to put a label and say AATCE. So what does AATCE gonna provide for these organizations afterwards? And I think you need to think about that when you offer this program, because it is gonna take more commitment from whoever organization you're gonna approach.
Yeah, well said. What I was gonna say is that again, the Apple team will do the selling of the program to the institutions, and a lot of these expectations will be properly set when we do the program selling. In terms of like benefits of investing in all this training resources at the institution level, we then do have program enhanced benefits delivery to support that, to work with the institutions. But all those, Ali, that the points are very important points that we're very mindful of. Will again, as you activate these deliveries, we'll continue to gather your feedback and iterate on it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to add something. I don't know about EU or other region, but in Hong Kong and Taiwan, the popularity of Swift programming language in the university curriculum is not in the flavor. I would say it's not in the flavor. Most of the university probably they will teach Python, they will teach something else instead of teaching Swift. So most of the students, they don't have a background of Swift. So even the school or the faculty become the AATCE, what are their participants or attendees if it is not in the curriculum of the university program? So that's another motivation. Okay, they'll be less motivated to become an AATCE. Let's put all the fundings aside first, because even let's say even Apple provided the funding, okay, but then the school will say, oh, okay, it's free, so let's it's a freebie, okay, let's go get it, okay. But after they get it, they got say for example a MATLAB, okay, like Amit said, the student don't have access after school hours. Probably the student, but most of the students they do have like one of the Apple device, like the iPhone, iPad, or whatever. Then however, it's like, what are the students' motive? Okay, I want to get in university, I want to get a good score and graduate and get a job. Okay, that's what's in it for me as a student. However, it's not inside the curriculum, so why on earth I should care? Or why, unless there is a Swift or programming 101, that Swift is part of this
Curriculum. The
course
curriculum part, which is
inside
there
the
in
curriculum. And the student will be like, okay.
They
Yeah,
So
exactly.
can I
Yeah.
pause everyone for a moment and
Yes.
appreciate the fact that we've on our calendar have about 15 minutes, and
Yes.
know that it will take a little bit more than 15 minutes to get through the other two. And I do not want to disrespect anyone, because all of whatever you said is super important. Both Carol and I are taking notes, and it is very rare to assemble a distinguished group like this together, right?
Yes.
And I don't even want to ask you for more time. But so I'm weighing between letting you talk and wanting to get your feedback on what I haven't yet shown you. So will you allow me to show you things that I haven't shown you yet? Right. And then if anybody else maybe doesn't mind staying a little bit later, we're very happy to listen. Right. But I appreciate the fact that many of us may be busy. So if it is okay, and I apologize for stopping you, Ivan, but I just want to go through because module 2 and 3 are a little bit more straightforward. Because the module 1 was the one that is slightly different, and thank you for all of your feedback, I mean, because like I said, unless you do, it will just be theoretical. When you do, then all the potential, now you realize this, can be done better and things like that. And we are always here to make it better, right? So all of your feedback, thank you very much. I will transition into module 2, and then as with precision go into module 3, and then bring everything to a close. But it might take a bit more time. Please indulge. Yes.
Pav, just one word before you move on.
Yes.
I mean, we are talking about AATCA and ACT. I mean, this one actually is talking about ACT authorization and mentoring for ACT. So we understand that we are also talking about AATCE, but I mean, towards the conversation, we are also talking about whether AATCE has value in different regions. So I think we focus on ACT, mentoring, and also authorization process first, and then afterwards we can discuss more on the value and also the AATC or the university engagement. So it's easier for us to focus on the ACT delivery at this moment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
100%.
module 1 was inquire, challenge-based learning, ideation. We gave people an assignment to develop an app. Now they come back at the beginning of module 2. The flow will work in this way. They will share the assignment. They will then get to understand what does a sample lesson look like. They will build their lesson. They will receive feedback on that lesson. And they will then start to think about assignment 2. So how does this work? The most complex part about this second module is this part, the beginning, because everybody will be randomly assigned to a group. Remember, they would have done assignment 1. Assignment 1 is an app, but they are not doing one-on-one app demo. They made an app. Now they are going to share that app with the 2 other people in their group, but they only have 2 minutes to show. So they put their app up and they're like, this is what I built. This is how I built it. This is why I chose to build it in this way. After 2 minutes, then the other 2 people in the group will ask question. Why? How? Can you explain to me? How does it work? Get the feedback. The second person will go through the same process. 2 minutes to talk, 3 minutes to receive question and respond. Total for each person, 5 minutes. This process takes 15 minutes. At the end of this process, each person would have gotten feedback about their app, would have also given feedback about 2 other people's app. Remember, low stake, no instructor, peer feedback. We are teaching the instructor how to give feedback and how to receive feedback by listening to each other. That is what we're doing. So that is what they will do. Then the next stage would be the instructor, you sharing an example of a lesson. Now, I don't have it here, but we will make sure that it is put on the deck, right, where we will have the sample lesson that you will be able to show, because you want to explain to them, right? Now, this will be something that involves challenge-based learning. Can you remind me, did we put it in the journal?
Yes, we did.
We did. I should go to the journal then. Yep. So if you look at the group lab journal, we've actually got a sample lesson, right? This is probably not something you would have seen before because it doesn't exist. Like I mentioned before, right? You might have seen a lesson on machine learning and and artificial intelligence, but not one that has been organized according to CBL, engage, investigate, and act. And that is what we have done. We have developed a lesson that is very clear, has got timing, activity, facilitation strategy, and reasoning, because we want all of the instructors to look at it and go, this is an example of what we would like you to build, right? And what you will give them is you will give them topics. The reason why you give them topics, and all of you know this, is if you say, everybody, I want you to pick a topic, everyone is going to pick the simplest topic and they'll all probably pick the same topic. You don't want to do that. You want to be able to assign topics. So if there are 15 people, we'll let you assign each of the people in your group a different topic. The task is then to develop a one-day lesson. So if you look at this lesson, if you calculate the total timing, it adds up to 8 hours, right? And that's what we think about as one day. Plan. Target audience, they are students. They know their students better than anyone else, right? At what stage, they determine. But the topic is the one that you give them. And the framework is exactly what is on screen. In their journal, there will be an example, a template that they will use, but we've also got the field section, which you are sharing with them so that they can reference and they know what it needs to look like. Now, this is not homework. This is something during the session. So we will expect that this is something that they will do while the lesson is going on. So you will share with them the sample. After you have shared with them the sample, they will then go and design and build that lesson. Once they build it, the next step will be to get feedback. Remember, there is no instructor intervention at all. You are keeping time, you are sharing the sample, you are then saying, okay, you now have time to go build it. Once they have built, whether it's finished or not, you are not going to check at that point in time. The only time you will check whether it's finished is when they submit their journal. At the end of the time, you will then give them 15 minutes and you will assign them a partner within that 15 minutes to share their plan and to then give feedback to their partner's plan. So they both get to look at each other's plan and help each other to improve it, ask each other questions around why does your plan look the way it does. So after that 15 minutes, they then go back to their original plan and they continue to make changes. There is time. We'll give them time to develop, time to get feedback, and time to act on the feedback. Once they have done all of these things, then we will talk to them about assignment 2. Assignment 2 is pick a 5-minute segment of your 8-hour plan that you are going to deliver. Remember, previous time, all of you have been used to this. The teach back was a long component. Now the teach back is going to be 5 minutes long. The instructor chooses which 5 minutes and then rehearses, practice to themselves before being assigned a buddy and using the 10 minutes to get feedback. So if my buddy is Ali, I'll say, Ali, I chose this 5 minute. This is what I'm going to say during the 5 minute. What do you think? Then Ali will go, Pav, I chose this 5 minute and this is what I'm going to say. What do you think? And we will give each other feedback, right? At the end of that feedback, the session will come to an end. Because as homework, it will be based on the feedback that your buddy gave you. Make sure when you come for module 3, you are ready to deliver the 5 minutes, right? Now, why do we do it this way? Because remember, not everybody is confident in speaking. Not everybody knows English well. We want people to plan. We want people to get feedback. And we want people to be confident that they have made a good choice before they go back, so that they can make some improvement. And when they come back on the third day, it will be pretty good before they deliver it. And that is the aim. Okay. So I'm going to pause. Does anybody have questions about what I just said?
I just was looking at the mentor guide that
Yep.
you shared with us. I think just maybe a feedback. I think if you can add a little bit more to the mentor feedback, like, because what you're going through here is it's great, and I think if you can add anything additional to the guide, I think especially to this last part here, the group discussions would help a lot.
Yeah,
Can you
we're happy to
explain?
take a look at it. And I think, Ali, as you go through the presentation deck, which is what
Yeah.
Path is showing here, and you look through there are some additional notes for the mentors in addition to presentation, like
Okay.
script,
Okay.
right? So the combination of all this hopefully will give you a broader and deeper idea on how to deliver.
Okay.
So Ali, on every slide, there are presenter notes.
Oh, there is notes. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. Great.
yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah. So like everything comes together. So yeah, and I'm sorry that they are separate, but yeah.
No, it's fine. I'm just I didn't look at the slides. I didn't look at the keynote. So, but if there is guidelines in the notes, it will actually help as well. Yeah.
But please check, and if still insufficient, let us know.
Okay.
Yep. So with your permission, everyone, I'm moving to module 3. So remember that module 2 ends with they already have started working on assignment 2. They have gotten some feedback from a buddy about their 5-minute delivery. Now, when they come on the third day, what are they going to do? Remember, at the start of the second day, they did this activity where they were randomly assigned a group and they would present for 2 minutes about their app and they would get feedback for 3 minutes. Now they will do the same thing. But the difference is they are going to take the 2 minutes to talk about, I chose this 5-minute segment in my lesson to present. This is why I chose it. This is what I'm going to do. What do you all think? And people will give feedback. And then the second person will do the same thing. Second round on feedback on the 5-minute that they are going to deliver. I know it's 5 minutes, but more feedback is always going to be helpful. That is not given by the instructor. Better to give feedback than to do evaluation, right? You will realize that we're not going to evaluate when people do their 5-minute. Unlike the teach back that you did the previous time, there's no rubric for teach back. So they will go through this round of 15 minutes where they will talk about what they're going to speak. They will get feedback on what they're going to speak. At the end of that 15-minute, all of the participants will take a short break in terms of talking. Now the mentor will lead a conversation. You, the mentor, will lead a very simple conversation. And the conversation will be, why is it important to be a great facilitator? And let everybody in the group, by now, the third day, they are quite familiar with each other. They will not be shy. Let them to talk. What is a great facilitator? Why is it important? And let everybody contribute because we want them to get into the mindset of facilitation. What does it mean? Once that happens, then, sorry, this is the same thing. Then we're going to go into a short breakout and let people in small groups think about this topic about facilitation, right? Because they were in a big group, maybe they still have things that they want to say, they didn't get a chance to talk, they go into small group, they think and they talk to each other about this art of facilitation. What does it mean? Am I good? What does good look like? What should we be doing? What should we be doing more of? Then everybody comes back and now it is time for the live facilitation to take place. Now everybody will go turn by turn to deliver that 5-minute segment. I want you to remember, as I shared just now, the detailed presenter notes, and you will realize that there's a lot of material in the presenter notes that if you feel, you can just read, right? But I am just now summarizing whatever is on screen. After the live facilitation, individually, we want every person to do self-reflection, not evaluation. We're not going to give people a grade. This was how much score you got for your teach back. We want each person, after they listen to other people and they finish talking, to ask themselves, what would I do different? We assign people partner and let them talk to another person. How did I find my segment? What did I like about my presentation? If I had a chance to do it again, what would I do that I didn't do the first time? That we think is important. Again, this will also go into the journal. Right at the end, we are almost close to finishing. We want people to give each other feedback, to give you feedback, and to give the program feedback. And for that, we will use this prompt. I used to think, and now I think. How do you do that? Very simple. Before I started this process, I used to think that teaching Swift, the same as teaching Python, the same as teaching Java, the same as teaching Objective-C, the same. Computing is all the same. And now, after I went through this process, I realized there's quite a bit of difference, right? Maybe I am more aware of the difference and I am more appreciative of what I need to do when I go back to teach my students. Take an example. I used to think, and now I think. What is the difference in the way I am approaching things from the start and now? Then we'll get everybody to do this, right? You can get them to type in the chat. You can get them to speak out loud, right? I usually do a mixture of both because it's always nice to listen to what people have to say about the process. But in this process, the mentor does not interject, does not speak. The mentor just says thank you and let the next person speak so that everybody gets to talk. You can participate, but you shouldn't be passing judgment or giving comments about anybody else's opinion. This brings an end to the session. And right at the end is where you talk a little bit about next steps, some administration, which is how long you're going to give people to complete their group lab journal. I think typically we have said about a week, right? And during the time they can go through, because the 3 sessions happen very fast. They may want to go back and improve on their comments and their feedback and documents that they hadn't put in, the reflection, right? And what will happen, those candidates who are successful, they get a certificate. And of course, this is where once the institution has met all their requirements, then they will then receive the communication and an opportunity and that follow from there, right? Of course, reminding people, because you talked about this at the beginning of session 1, which is that they are going to be evaluated on the quality of the journal, reminding them to put in a bit of effort before they submit it, right? And we will make sure that we'll try our best to make sure that everybody passes, but go through the rubric. So I'm going to pause, and of course, you will end with your contact information. Carol, is there anything I forgot or that I should go through at this stage?
I think it's just the final step that when you evaluate. So first, in the mentor guide, we actually indicate 3 working days for the participant to complete the journal and send it to you. Depending on which day of the month or the week it falls, you will customize that date and share with your students in the group. The other thing is that the rubric details is in the group journal itself. So your participants would definitely can read it up anytime they would like. There is also a reporting template that you will use at mentors once everything wraps up and you make the determination on whether the participants have met the requirements, and that is the report you will use to kind of summarize the result and send the result back to your local geo lead, the Mike Tomlin, the Vic Sand, the Leslie Long at Apple. So I'm gonna just pull it up real quick. It is a simple numbers sheet that you will just complete, and then you will make a recommendation, and there's already choices for you. Then you will, once each group wraps up, you would then complete this and send it to your Apple Geo lead. So that would be the final step after you've done the assessment. We're working on creating a better, more modern way than a numbers sheet to submit the result, but we're still working on that. And hopefully in our phase 2 of this rollout, we'll be able to give you an easier and better way. But for now, use this numbers sheet. Okay, questions?
I think this part is really something innovative that takes the certification process to another level. I'm waiting for the recording of this meeting to reflect better on all those I have heard and I have learned today. Because for me it is important, because my language it is not good, and then also my her is in some moment with some difficulty, and the registration is the recording is important for me.
Yeah, we will
Thank
post
you.
this recording. Thank you, Giovanna. Definitely we'll put the recording file into the same box folder so you can refer to it as a resource. I can bet you your Italian is much, much better than any of us. So your language is perfect. Do not ever worry about that. And we really appreciate the time. And we know this is different, right? For those of you who have delivered, this is a very different approach. We've, done a lot of thinking. We've looked at different alternatives, and we really believe this is a good path forward to deliver a better and more innovative approach, Giovanna, to your point. You as mentors will take on a very strong facilitator role versus in the past more of like just observation of the teach backs and making assessment. This will really take some preparation for you to switch your role into a facilitator approach. So at the end of this session, I think there are a couple of ask path, if I may just pull up.
Yes. Yes.
As we'll stay here for questions for sure, but we're conscious of time, is a few things, right? What's after this? You have the box folder. If you have access issue, reach out to myself. I'll be able to sort that out with you. Make sure you take some time to review all the resources thoroughly. There are speaker notes. There are a lot of resources in there for you to go through. I would highly recommend a follow-up session with your geo lead, and your geo lead will probably prompt you to do that. There is some kind of logistics and scheduling that you will work through with your local geo lead. And because this is so different, it takes more preparation. Definitely rehearse before your first delivery. And your geo lead may be of great support to you to rehearse with you. We'll leave that with your geo lead. And this is brand new for us as well. So we really appreciate all the feedback as you have shared during this session, but along the way in the coming months. And Pav, I was thinking that maybe in a month or two's time, we can also organize an office hour as you've got some
Good idea.
time to go through all this thinking and preparation, come back with questions and come back with feedback. We'll set up some time for us to do that.
Great.
Okay. I'll acknowledge that it's 10 minutes past.
Yeah.
Really appreciate everybody staying longer. And I'll tell you that like we are extremely happy with all your feedback. And we're excited to make it better because so far it has been Carol and me and the geo leads. And today it is like gone beyond to the
Yes.
actual people on the ground. So you cannot get more excited when you get feedback from the people who will actually run it, right? And they tell you ways in which it can become better. So thank you very much. We will do whatever we can to put in place your suggestions. But I think the suggestion of an office hours maybe in another 1 or 2 months is good. Then you can tell us more accurate things after you have run maybe 1 or 2 sessions.
Right.
Just
Okay.
one question,
Yes, please.
if you have time. So when does this get rolled out? Like from today, or is it that if there's some training and teach backs in the pipeline, that so this is the process we follow from today forth, or is there like a time we get to transition over? How will that work?
I would suggest Amit to connect with Mike. He was here earlier on the call, but he's going to drive the scheduling and the transition. I know
All right.
in EMEA region in general, there are active pipelines that need to be addressed. So, but all the material is ready to be used. They're all approved, they're ready to go. So I'll leave it to
Okay.
Mike to connect with you to confirm the activation.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Sorry, guys, I gotta go, but
No,
thank
we're
you
going to
so
close
much,
this.
everyone.
Yeah.
And then,
Thank you, everyone.
definitely, we'll have feedback for you, and I think we can have positive feedback on how to make it better in the future if we need to. And
Yep.
but for the time being, I gotta go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
everybody. We're closing
everyone,
the
for your
session.
time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
Bye,
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Pav. Mhm.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Nice,
Bye
nice
bye.
meeting all of
Thank
you.
you. Thank
And
you
Cool.
for
yeah.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.